With the recent release of the new trailer for Dune, which is based on Frank Herbert's classic science fiction novel, I've been reflecting more and more on the impact that Dune has had on my life. While it's not very often that I can say that a novel has impacted me on a personal level, Dune is easily one of the few books that come to mind when I think of a piece of literature that has directly and positively altered my mindset and course of thinking. Genuinely, I can say that Dune has improved my life. While I can't remember every story detail or plot point of the story, Dune has always stuck with me, and will continue to do so for the rest of my life. So what was it about Dune that made it so impactful to generations of readers? To me, the first thing that I draw on from Dune is not in any way unique, as fans the world over have latched onto a particular prayer or litany found in Dune's pages. This phrase is revered by Dune fans the world over because of its powerful mental call to action against the unknown. It is known as the Litany Against Fear, and it goes as follows.
Fear is the mind killer. Fear is the little death that brings total obliteration. I will face my fear, and I will permit it to pass over me. Where the fear is gone, there will be nothing. Only I will remain.
This fictional litany stood out to me in a profound way as a young man. I'm not a neurologist, but it makes sense to me that every time we let fear take control of our minds, we're losing a battle against ourselves and against our own self-interest. Fear, unchecked, can negatively impact how our brain functions, both in the present and the future. That is why fear is the mind killer, because if not challenged, it is much like a virus. The Litany Against Fear does not say that it's wrong to experience fear, but that we have to acknowledge fear for what it is. Fear is meant to make us stop and evaluate our circumstances when a threat is presented. However, if permitted, fear can also prevent us from doing the bold or right thing that may very well be the action that enriches our lives. Fear is meant to protect against danger, and yet doing dangerous things often leads to even greater happiness and success. That is why acknowledging your fear, but not succumbing to it, is essential. One thing about fear is that our minds often get things wrong. How often do we experience fear when, in reality, no danger is actually present or real? How often do we experience irrational distress over such benign things such as public speaking, only to find that once we do the thing that we were afraid to do, that the fear was unwarranted? Fear is the little death indeed, because for such a small, everyday facet of our daily lives, if not harnessed correctly, it can imprison our thoughts and actions. If we only ever focused on fear, nothing in life would ever be accomplished. For all the times I've been faced with scary decisions in my life, whether it's something as straightforward as quitting a job to go back to school, I still feel an element of fear when faced with such life-altering decisions. That fear makes me not want to do the thing that needs to be done, because it's unknown what the future will bring if I choose that path. But what fear doesn't tell us is that the future is always unknown, even when we keep going the way we've always gone. There is no way we can remove the element of danger from our lives. So why do we fear change? Whenever I'm frozen with uncertainty, those words, fear is the mind killer, have somehow always managed to enter my mind. It has clawed its way into my subconscious, and always seems to pop up when I need a reminder that I control the decisions that affect my future, not my fear. I can't count how many times in my life I've been faced with a fork in the road, and I've made the plunge to do the more scary, uncertain thing, almost all because of this phrase. Fear is the mind killer forces me to ask, am I not doing the hard thing because I'm scared? If so, the fear is literally eating away at my thoughts, because it stops me from progressing. Do I want that in my life, to be controlled by fear, to destroy my mind and my future because of uncertainty? Acknowledging fear and assessing its warnings is crucial, but letting that fear dictate the outcome of every decision is fatal. The second thing that made an impression on my mind my first time reading Dune was one of the early scenes in the book when Paul Atreides, the protagonist of the story, is being trained by Gurney Halleck, Paul's weapons teacher. After trying a careless move, hoping to catch Halleck off guard, Paul is surprised when Halleck outmaneuvers him and scolds him for being so reckless, even though it's a simple training exercise. "You're an apt pupil, none better," Halleck says. But I've warned you that not even in play do you let a man inside your guard with death in his hand. I guess I'm not in the mood for it today, Paul replies. Mood? What has mood to do with it? Halleck retorts. You fight when the necessity arises, no matter the mood. Mood's a thing for cattle, or making love, or playing the balisette. It's not for fighting. This particular exchange between these two characters made me question my life in a way I never had before. How much of a role does mood play throughout our everyday lives? How many times have we not exercised our bodies and our minds simply because we weren't in the mood? Mood and feelings are the opposite of action and purpose. I still question myself every day for times when I'm not doing something that needs doing, just because I happen to not feel like it. Ultimately, we live in a world that is very much outside of our control, but what we do have control over is our mood. Or rather, we have control over how to respond to our mood. Living life is a choice, and if our mood dictates our decisions, then we're not choosing to live life well. Your feelings can't stop you from acting, only inaction can do that. Action invites increased action, and mood, in many cases, is an obstacle to motion. It's impossible to surpass our feelings and moods entirely, but it comes down to a matter of control. What do we let run the show, our mood or our mind? Mood most certainly has a place in our lives and isn't a thing to shun entirely. In fact, our mood can make pleasant moments more enjoyable, just as Halleck says. But what he emphasizes is that there are things in our life that need to supersede mood, no matter the circumstances. These two passages from Dune have become an integral part of my life. From the litany against fear, I have learned that I cannot let fear stop me from doing dangerous things. And from Gurney Halleck, I learned that mood should not dictate my behavior. These two lessons are similar in how they challenged me to confront the way I live my life. In many ways, my actions have been passive and directionless, but with Frank Herbert's words in the back of my head, I've taken risks and have been rewarded in ways I couldn't imagine. And that is how Frank Herbert has changed my life. But enough from me. What do you think about the new trailer for Dune? Do you think it will be a faithful and entertaining adaptation? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll catch you next time.
To those who stand against the righteous.
The righteous!
There is a Harkonnen among you. Give the Harkonnen a blade, and let him stand forth.
If fate wishes, he can meet you with my blade in his hand.
I wish it.
This is a Harkonnen animal.